Hello everyone, Nordic Beast here, and welcome back to the Shipyard. So first things first, I got myself a new headset and mic. I happened to see one at the store that was relatively inexpensive and picked it up. It is 10 times better than the standing mic I've been using the last couple of, probably 3 months now, which was just terrible, absolutely terrible. I will still keep it as my backup mic, but with that one it's so quiet that I have to use the microphone boost, and when I do it has this terrible static in the background and I have to try to adjust it in editing and it never really works. This one I still get a little tiny bit of that static in the background, but it is 10 times clearer. I absolutely love this thing. I am so happy. So for today I have 2 builds and a bunch of mods. Today it is going to be about aerodynamics. Yeah. But first I want to get to this. This is the heavy lifter I was talking about designing. Originally I was going to design one off of my Dragon, and I did, and I crashed it. So I decided just to, and it was without any backup. I crashed my only prototype with no copy, blueprint, nothing. So this is a fresh build. This is my complete heavy lift design, and I freaking love this thing. Even with all the aerodynamic thrusters on it. Now this is a vanilla build. Over there is not, obviously. Wait a minute, did the landing gear break on that thing? Oh, okay, no it didn't. Alright, I was worried for a moment. Anyway, both cockpits are conveyed together, as well as behind this block right here, there are air vents. So, since these conveyor blocks here don't completely seal it, they do actually pull in air. I have some large large oxygen thrusters back here, or atmospheric thrusters, whatever. And then of course I have 4 for lift, and I have 4 on either side for side-to-side thrust, and then I have 10 reverse small thrusters, 4 up front and 6 in the back. It has 6 batteries, I'd say about an hour worth of continuous flight time. And then I have a cockpit in the back, which that is, of course, for either you can switch to the back or you don't pick a main cockpit, and then your second pilot can take over to try and, you know, pick up whatever you're trying to pick up. So first off, this thing's about 58,000 kilograms. Let's go ahead and give it a run. Now, I tried this earlier and I had an improved atmospheric thruster mod on, and for some odd reason it destroyed the thrusters and just crashed this thing, and it was awful. So this here is one of my Kraken drop ships, which I still need to update with atmospheric thrusters. I think is a better choice than the hydrogen. Oh, that's another thing. Every time I spawn this in, I have to change this, the control wheels. Because it was sitting there turning the wheels. There we go. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is also I have a camera back here. Yeah, that's good. Grab that. Now the Kraken pre-crashed, this is a crashed one obviously, is around about 70,000 kilograms. So I can pick up something that heavy, which is, it's heavier than the actual dropship itself, so I can actually pick up more than its own weight. Now when flying though, with something attached to it, you want to be very gentle, especially when it comes to a decrease in altitude, because it just barely has enough thrust to actually lift this. I mean, look at how slow that lift is. So you want to be careful. I'm going to go ahead and try and drop this gently, but without a payload. Oh, did I damage myself or no? I don't think so. Sweet, yeah, it was just the ship got a little bit more damage on its landing. Oh no, I did lose a couple of landing gear. I wonder if that was just from being locked on. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in a new one. The only thing really left to be done with this, as far as this particular build goes, come on. Ah, there we go. Is I just need to paint it. Alright, so now that I don't have broken parts, even with 5 gyros, this thing has a tendency to be really sluggish in a roll. But it doesn't really need to roll all that much. So, oh, see, look, now it's steering the wheels. So how about I shut that off real quick? Wheel control, there we go. Which also changes its speed down there. It goes to kilometers an hour as opposed to meters per second. And this is actually the first build that was not a ground vehicle I've ever done that has wheels. Now, one of the mods I have on here is the aerodynamic, the re-entry and drag. Sorry, I didn't mean to whack my mic there. I'm not used to having a headset mic anymore. So naturally, this thing wants to slow down, despite, you know, the fact that it actually has the reverse thrusters, but that just means it slows down even more than usual. There you go. I also have the aerodynamic mod on, though that's not going to affect this thing at all. As well as, let's see, the re-entry and drag, aerodynamic. I have this rotor blade mod on. I have these oxygen thrusters, and these wings are the aerodynamic mod, by the way, just in case you've never seen them, which I'll put all the information down below. These are Raven Bolts rockets. This is 400mm. This is the 100mm, the clustered ones. And then on this side, I actually have Gatling cannon. So I just kind of pieced this together to see if if I could actually build a passable helicopter. And this one's supposed to have counter-rotating blades, but right now they're basically thrusters that thrust down. So I just have two of them. If you have one that thrusts upward, it doesn't spin as you're flying like this. It just goes to a slow idle. And if you thrust down, it'll speed up, but that's it. So it looks kind of weird, so I decided to do two, which kind of works well, gives us a little bit more thrust. Now, it actually runs on these oxygen thrusters you see back there, which I like, but they're really powerful, and I feel it accelerates this thing a little too fast. It makes it feel like an airplane or like a spacecraft. Like, I think helicopters should be a little bit more sluggish. I mean, responsive, definitely, but sluggish. And I mean, that's the thing, without these thrusters, it's not too bad. It handles pretty well, which I have flown it without the actual thrusters. So they're fully conveyed for oxygen, and actually the front of them, the fan part you see there, are the air vents, which I think is pretty cool. I do have one tiny one conveyed on either side internally that they don't do thruster damage, so they don't burn the aircraft itself, just to give myself a little yaw, a little side-to-side thrust. But, why are you not? There we go. There's Gatling. That's the big rockets. And those are the scatter ones. That don't really scatter too much. I love Raven Bolt's weapons. The only thing I wish he would add is like an autocannon. Since he has the Gatling cannons as opposed to the Gatling guns, I would like to see something like an autocannon, something that's hard-hitting, slower firing, longer ranged. What was that guy's name? Ninja something or another. He had the scatter laser and the autocannon, actually, which I considered balanced by comparison to the Gatling gun. Scatter laser, you had to get really close. Autocannon, it was slower, did more damage, and was longer range, but you had to actually hit with it, and because that slow rate of fire, it was hard to, but it did more damage. And I would like to see something like that in-game, or, as a new mod, because that Ninja guy doesn't support his mods anymore. But I did see Witch on the workshop. He recently re-released his Afterburner mod, that Ninja guy's Afterburner mod. So Witch might be supporting his mods now, which would be awesome. Because I did really like his mods. He also had this bomb launcher. It was a reverse bomb launcher. I can't think of the name of it offhand. I used to use it all the time on a lot of my builds. I used to use a bunch of his stuff on my builds. And I would love to see those all come back into the game with DirectX 11 support. So, now looking at these, I think I want to refine them a little bit more. Get like a general idea of what's good and bad for a good helicopter design. And I might try to create like a knit event, like a small knit event of 2 build teams. One side builds helicopters, the other side builds ground vehicles. And then, you know, you could have helicopters and ground vehicles duke it out. No, you don't. Nice try. Yeah. I love the Gatling gun. I don't know. So, also, if you guys don't know too much about helicopters, this is mildly based on the Ka-50, which is a Russian helicopter that uses counter-rotating blades like this. The original model was single seat. Later models were 2 seats side by side. Actually, come to think of it, a good mod for this is the T cockpit, which is a front and back, like, you know, it has like a back seat, and it even has LCDs and such. Which I do have the immersive cockpit on in here, but there's this weird viewing glitch. Like, if you view this way, it starts twitching back like this, and it gets really annoying. As much as I love that cockpit, that drives me absolutely fucking bug shit. So, this is overall pretty easy to fly. If you need to slow down, since there is no reverse thrust, I was trying to put reverse thrust on it, but I couldn't find anywhere that I thought was nice. But if you do want reverse thrust, a good way to go about it is to either pull your nose up, which you will climb but you'll slow down, or bank to the side. Because of the drag mod on, the larger side of your vehicle will cause more drag. So the area with more surface area will cause more drag. So when you're facing this way, obviously very long, narrow helicopter, it's not going to cause much drag. Turn it to the side, it will. And then if you tilt, you know, you're away from the direction you're going, that'll also slow you down. So, yeah, like I said, I think I'll refine this a little bit more and maybe look into doing a knit event, because that would be a lot of fun. Oh, lastly, there was 2 sets of videos that I was going to post that I'm not going to, but I'll tell you about them. I had one that was with Barbarian Marzajon, showing off a fighter map that I built, and to be honest, I wasn't 100% happy with the way it looked, so I am going to build a new fighter map. I want something dynamic and interesting, but I'm not going to post that one. I didn't much care for it. And then I recently did an episode of Weapons of Mass Derpiness with Boris and Anubis, as well as Drunk Spider-Man, and I accidentally deleted the intro to it before I was able to finish it. So I'm not going to post anything on that, but check out their channels. I'm in it, as well as Drunk Spider-Man, and it was a blast. We had a lot of fun. I'm not going to give any spoilers on it. It was cool. So next Weapons of Mass Derpiness, that'll be on. So anyway, if you guys have any ideas for what you'd like me to build next, comment in the comments down below. If you have any ideas for these 2 builds here, let me know. If you have any ideas for like helicopter builds or something you'd like to see me build based on a helicopter. Same thing with this, with my heavy lifter here. Because my next thing I was going to build is first like a module, like an interchangeable module, one with cargo and another one with seats, and then also to rebuild the underneath, like remove that cockpit and widen this and build like a cabin that pretty much comes all the way down, which I built a rough prototype that I didn't keep. I didn't like the look of it, that had at least 10 seats, so that's pretty reasonable. I mean, a pilot plus 10 seats, no defensive armament on it, but I might be able to fit something on there. But anyway, if you guys think of anything you'd like to see me do, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you like the episode, please hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.